This is Hakam Yara ben-Emmett, or AKA, in the diaspora of America. I go by Keith Woodward. Everyone who knows me, they know that I'm a disabled U.S. Air Force Gulf War combat veteran. And I'm in love with my country. I was born here. Not everyone has an American flag from their property for various reasons, unless it's a military holiday like Veterans Day or something like that. I voted for Donald J. Trump 3 times, and my basic litmus test as a Jew. And sometimes you have to choose between the lesser 2 evils. Donald Trump, without a doubt, in the first term, did more for Israel than any president in U.S. history. However, this term of office is a little bit different, and actually, Donald Trump broke this Jew's heart to the point where I unsubscribed from MAGA, from Donald Trump and the GOP, and I will never give any more donations to the GOP again, because they're the face of the current president. Why am I saying this? Well, I'm a Jew. I'm in the diaspora because of choices I made in the past. I must be here for a few more years until I aliyah to Israel. But what happened recently, as far as this so-called peace plan, Gaza ceasefire agreement, the greatest Middle East peace agreement in 3,000 years, that's what Donald Trump said, and he got all of these Arabs together. Some of the very worst tyrants, as far as people who have sworn to the destruction of Israel, like Hamas and Qatar, like Turkey, for instance, and like Egypt, has had their share of evil, and they have plenty of blood in all their hands. The so-called Abraham Accords is not what you think it is. It benefits the Arabs economically more than it does the Jewish people. All these things were forced on the tiny Jewish nation of Eretz Israel. And Benjamin Netanyahu, I've had misgivings of him for quite some time because he's a politician. He's like John McCain of the Middle East. And he's lied about annexation of Judea and Samaria. But now, in the point, he's made a deal with the United States that's probably going to put Israel in a worse situation than they were before no deal was conceived. Bibi had every right to attack Hamas and Doha, Qatar, when he did. Why? Because of the 9/11 UN Security Council resolution, the same resolutions that George Walker Bush used as justification to attack Al-Qaeda and the Taliban in Afghanistan. The same kind of actions and everything else that Donald Trump in the first term dropped a bomb on the head of ISIS and wiped them out, that little island off of Iraq. I give kudos to Donald Trump. He's doing a great job for America in securing our borders. He is deporting all the illegals. He's arresting all those criminals. He's killing the narco terrorists off of Venezuela's coast in the international waters. He is punishing the enemies of every American citizen in our cities, like D.C. He's cleaned up our streets. He's going to multiple cities were controlled by Democrats, and they're not doing a damn thing to protect citizens, because the criminals in a Democrat mind are the victims. Again, he is deporting thousands, if not millions, of illegal aliens out of our country. And that's why I voted for him. He's kept his campaign promise. Kudos to him. Really, he's a great American president for Christian America. However, on the other end of the coin, what Donald Trump says is true in America, as far as that we are defined by a country of laws and order. Our borders are well defined, like with Mexico and Canada, that we should have immigration laws and we should have enforcement for all our laws on record. A lot of people in America don't like Trump and call him a king, per se, for keeping his word and honoring our U.S. Constitution and our laws. But at the same time, in Israel, the only democracy in the Middle East, there's a double standard there. Because for that Jewish nation, they're not allowed to have sovereignty over their borders like Judea and Samaria. They're not allowed to deport all the illegals and the squatters and the Negev and elsewhere. They're not allowed to kick out all the Palestinians and Hamas out of Gaza Strip because they broke that agreement with George Walker Bush, brokered in 2005, the Land for Peace deal, brokered with U.S. President and Yasser Arafat, a well-acknowledged terrorist, you know. But what applies for the United States and our sovereignty, we don't have Germany or Spain or even Israel telling us how our foreign policy should be directed or how our internal affairs and court system should rule. If we believe that Muslim Brotherhood is an illegal and terrorist organization, we should decide that, right? But if Bibi, for instance, went in and said, I'm going to arrest Mahmoud Abbas for pay for slay and being essentially a sponsoring terrorist, and arrest him and condemns his $1 million mansion in the West Bank, you know, if he decides that, then he will probably tell Bibi to stand off and not do that. Like he told people in the press in the United States that I will tell Bibi he cannot annex Judea and Samaria. He actually said that. And then he swore before the UN recently in New York City that no Palestinian state will ever be in Israel. He was on the Amen pew with Bibi when they both said that. And he admonished like countries like France and UK and others that wanted a two-state Palestinian terrorist state in Israel. But now he's saying, I will agree with the Arabs for a Palestinian state in Israel and Gaza Strip. Once he finds some reformed or normal Palestinians that can actually self-govern. But as if history to be our guide, well, historically, the Palestinians are not able to self-govern. Jews ought to resettle the Gaza Strip, and the Palestinians there, we should give them a one-way ticket out of the country. Hey, Jordan is 80% Palestinian. Send them back to Jordan. They're just Arabs. They're just mixed racial Syrians and Egyptians and others. They're just Arabs. That's all they are. I'm not getting into the history of Palestine, which began in 1964 with Egyptian-born Yasser Arafat. He invented that. And Golda Meir said that previously so well that there's no such thing as a Palestinian people. So think about it. It's illegal, according to international law, to tell another nation that you are not allowed to do XYZ for your country's best interests. Just like it's illegal for Israel to dictate to Donald Trump, you're not allowed to close your borders and deport all those brown-colored people, Mexicans and Venezuelans and other people out of the country. And that's wrong. You're not allowed to say the Muslim Brotherhood is illegal. It's a terrorist organization. You're not allowed to do that. Israel would not do that because they are gentlemen. They're a Jewish nation. Is it possible that Israel, the simple fact they're Jews, is why U.S. has a double standard for them? Not just Donald Trump, but every single U.S. president going back to at least Jimmy Carter. You know, everything. Why is Israel in such a mess right now? It's because of U.S. interference in Israel's foreign and internal affairs. Leave Israel alone. They don't need U.S. involvement. We appreciate Donald Trump forcing or whatever, cajoling Hamas leadership to tell the terrorists to release our 20 living hostages there. Of course, they say that Biden actually released more living hostages than Trump did. And I don't know why he waited so long, because in December last year he said, hey, Hamas, if you don't release those hostages, all of them, before I become president, January 21st, you know, there'll be all hell to pay. Well, he forgot about that promise. He changed his promises. He changed his word, just like a politician. And this is what upset me so much. Again, thank you, Donald Trump, for the great work you do in this country, for this Christian nation. But you forgot this is a Judeo-Christian nation. And American Jews are not very happy with Donald Trump. Yes, thank you for dropping those big bombs on Iran. But U.S. couldn't even go across those airways of Iran if it wasn't for the sacrifices of the IAF and going and taking out the Air Force and all the military, SAM sites and everything else. It was an easy ride in the skies of Iran to drop those bombs. And I heard within a couple years or less, they'll be making nuclear weapons. Oh, this flag loves me. Before you know it. So it's unfinished business. Just like the supreme leader is still there with his propaganda saying death to Israel, death to the United States. Donald Trump told Bibi, turn around. He yelled at Bibi over the phone, turn around your fighters right now. We want a peace agreement with Iran. No, you're not allowed to kill the supreme leader. Israel has no sovereignty, and they're treated like the 51st state of the United States by the grandiose puppet master of the United States. That's the only way to look at it. This is the inconvenient truth. Hakam Yara Ben-Emmett signing out. Until the next time.